I lay flat on the top of the hot air balloon, trying to pry open the exhaust valve with my elbows. But at over 10,000 meters, the valve had long since frozen solid. I stood directly on the balloon's surface with no protection. I stomped hard on the valve with my feet, repeatedly kicking it with all my might. Finally, the valve gave way. A bone-chilling wind swept over me, making my whole body shake uncontrollably. To prevent the valve from freezing again, I wedged my boots into the opening. Then, I drew my knife to cut the laces, forcing the boots firmly into the valve's crevice. But in the extreme cold and oxygen-deprived environment, I could hold on no longer. I collapsed heavily onto the balloon. The uncontrolled balloon began its slow descent, its air sac gradually shrinking, and my entire body started sliding downward. The sudden sensation of freefall jolted me awake. I struggled desperately but found nothing to grasp, forced to watch helplessly as my body tumbled downward. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself hanging upside down at 10,000 meters, the hemp rope around my waist saving my life. I remembered my companion in the basket and screamed for help with all my might. But he had already fallen unconscious from altitude sickness. As expected, I had to rely on myself. I began swaying my body, and with every ounce of strength, finally swung to the edge of the basket. I scrambled back inside, barely catching my breath before checking on him, but no matter how loudly I called, he showed no response. Tears welled up in my eyes. Then, a miracle happened. He slowly began to stir. As the balloon descended, the temperature gradually rose. He looked at my scarred hands, his eyes filled with guilt. Had he not insisted on continuing the ascent, we wouldn't have ended up in this predicament. He took out his treasured brandy, carefully disinfecting my wounds. Just then, snowflakes began drifting through the sky. He hurriedly pulled out a bottle to collect the snow, but I quickly sensed something was wrong. Those snowflakes seemed frozen in place. This meant our descent was matching the snow's fall. At this rate, we'd be smashed to pulp sooner or later. I quickly shut off the exhaust valve, then tossed all the sandbags and lifelines from the basket. In this life or death moment, he didn't hesitate to discard the precious instruments, throwing away all the measuring equipment. But even after everything was discarded, we were still falling too fast. Suddenly, he had an idea. He told me to climb onto the iron ring. He realized the basket was the heaviest component. With all his strength, he cut through the basket's rope and cut through the remaining rope. The basket finally swung away, but even after jettisoning the basket, we continued our rapid descent.